I was with an ex-boyfriend, Christopher McCartney.
Okay?
And he was meeting up with somebody he was meeting up with.
You used he twice there. Can you just use names and say that again?
I was with Christopher McCartney, and he was with somebody, or I was with him, and he was meeting up with somebody Kush was meeting up with. There was another time I've seen him with a gun.
Okay. And again, you don't know where in the time frame this was?
I don't know exact dates, no.
Okay. And the only one that you can put within 60 days of this event that happened at the quarry was the time that you saw him at the wharf, right?
I'm not sure if it was 60 days, but the most recent time I remember, yes.
And that's the only time that you have a memory of. The other two specific ones happened well before the incident at the quarry, correct?
Maybe, yeah.
All right. That's the extent of the questions I have about the voir dire, obviously.
Okay.
Other questions later if she testifies.
Yep. The state want to make comment? I'm sure there's an objection to it. Go ahead.
Your Honor, I do believe that there is enough foundation, given the amount of time and the number of times, and the amount of detail that she can give regarding that. At the very least, I think it's admissible that she saw him with a handgun in the week leading up to the homicide.
Based on Your Honor's prior rulings, I agree that her testimony about what she observed at the wharf bar on the Tuesday or Wednesday before the quarry appears to be consistent with your Honor's rulings. We object to the habit evidence. We do not think there's like a foundation anywhere near what you need to in order to establish habit.
So if I understand what you're saying is, because I've said this is sort of the course of conduct, it's not another act. It's just part of what's happened here. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying there's two evidentiary issues.
Right.
One is the habit issue. The other one is she just testified now about a specific thing that she saw on what I'll say is 2 days before the shooting. She's never told anybody that before. I'm certainly going to teach her about this, but is it admissible for her to say that? I think it's another act, but I also know in Mr. Luco's testimony, we had the same argument. I understand Your Honor made a ruling in that case, and while I'm not conceding it, I can spend a lot of time arguing when I think I know what Your Honor is going to rule.
Okay.
But the habit matter, I do want to, if Your Honor needs to take it up. I don't think that they've proven that.
Yeah. Two things before, let me just ask the stated question. Pull your mic down if you could.
Yes, always.
And is the intention to only bring out the evidence of the wharf sighting, or is it he always has a gun on him? What's the intention on the, what do you plan to bring out during the testimony?
Judge, at this point, just the incident at the wharf, it ties into things that way. If Attorney Nelson intends to impeach on what she has or has not told anybody before, I think her statements to Investigator Leinfelder included that he was known to carry a Glock 40. And so I'm just a little concerned about if he says, well, you've never said that before. I want to be able to enter into evidence that she did talk to Mr. Leinfelder about him carrying a weapon.
Okay. So this is what I'm going to do. I think there's a foundation for at least some habit in more recent, well, since Ms. Johnson's met him. It's a little unclear about, 5 times out of 9, that's more than just a coincidence. It's more than an incident. So I do think it fits under 90406. But the specific incident I'm limiting it to is the one incident at the wharf. So we don't get into all the other incidents. And if we can keep it just to the wharf, I'd prefer it just to the wharf, in other words.
Absolutely, Judge.
Problem is, it depends on how you cross. You could open the door fairly easily to the other incidents.
And again, I heard that Your Honor's ruling, I just want to make clear that I know what happens if I ask her the question, you agree you did not tell Officer Leinfelder that you saw Nya Thao with a gun at the wharf while you were gambling days before this? That open the door if I'm that specific?
Well, the problem is it implies that she didn't say anything about it. All right, why don't we do it this way? Is if that question's asked, the answer is yes. Would you counter that by trying to get her to answer the more general question?
She would have to answer that truthfully, Your Honor.
I mean, no, I didn't tell. I'm confusing matters here. Yeah, I'm
Do we all
sorry.
agree, maybe I'm factually, do we all agree that she did not specifically tell Fritz Leinfelder about seeing a gun at the wharf days before? If we don't agree on that, then it's an entirely different issue, so.
One moment, Judge.
I can answer that question.
Not now, thank you.
Yeah, hold on one second, okay.
Yeah, and so Judge, that's true. It's not in the report that she saw him specifically at that time. The statement in the report is that she knew him to carry a .40 caliber handgun. Florida does know Cush to typically carry a .40 caliber handgun.
All right.
I think we're back to if I ask that question and she gives an honest answer that says, I didn't tell him that, what can the state do?
State, I think they can ask the general question, because that goes to habit. And, does he, I know he's carried it other times, whatever the statement is, but it has to be specifically. It's habit. I mean, this is a person who's using it, has it on him 4 or 5 times when she observes him. So it's like somebody wearing, always wears suspenders.
They always, but.
She didn't say it. Most of the time wears suspenders. So I'm letting it under 90406. We'll,
But now
I'm letting it under 90406. I think we know what the exchange is probably going to be, allowing to ask that follow-up question. So.
I may have inflated something, so I'm just trying to understand. Initially, I heard Your Honor say, let's limit it to the wharf. And then I said, if I do this, does it open the door? What I heard Your Honor say is, if I do that, it opens the door. So then my position would be, I'm not going to do that.
Right.
So I'm not going to open the door. So if we're in that scenario, do we all agree then 90406 evidence doesn't come in?
I'm willing to limit it to that. If she testifies to what she sees at the wharf, you don't impeach her on the fact that she didn't say those specific words. We don't go to that other general statement.
Okay, that would be my plan then. If they do that, I'm not going to impeach her with any specifics about what she did or she didn't say, and then we're done with it.
Right, so I'm just going to say one thing to Ms. Johnson. Ms. Johnson, just listen to the question, answer the specific question, okay? We're sort of just try to answer the specific question, okay? All right. Are we ready to bring, okay, one other.
Two other requests.
Yeah.
One is, I know Your Honor made a previous ruling about this witness not being able to testify about things of a hearsay nature that other people said, and I trust the state's not going to ask her that, but as long as the witness is here and she's on the stand, I would just ask that, the first request is to ask that you tell her that she can't volunteer information about what she may know about or claim to know about Nya trying to purchase a gun. That's my first request. Second request is I'd ask that you politely, gently inform the witness as well to not volunteer informations about her thoughts or opinions about my client's character in any way. I am worried that that's something that she is going to say. I have a good faith basis to believe that because she told me.
And Judge, as to his first point, I just intend to ask her about how she, or if she knew Mr. Thao, if she knew Mr. Atanasak, and limit it to the day at the wharf. I don't plan to ask her for any other hearsay evidence besides statements that would be party opponent statements. And again, just asking her about what happened at the wharf. I agree, of course, that there should not be any inadmissible testimony given. I also just want to put on the record, and I know Mr. Nelson is careful with his cross questions, but just that there aren't any questions that elicit that, and then feels like she's unable to answer.
All right. So, sort of the
Okay.
same thing, wait, this is the same thing I said earlier, which is answer the specific questions, Ms. Johnson. They're going to be very limited, so just try to stick to that. Does that make sense? Okay, thank you.
Can I ask her a question while she's on the stand related to Your Honor's order under 90615?
Go ahead, if you want to ask that question now.
Did you speak with Michael Luco about his testimony that he gave in this trial?
Other than that, he had to testify, no.
Did he tell you any of the content of that?
No, he wasn't allowed to.
Okay. That's all.
Great. All right, can we bring the jury in? All right.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, just so you know, you're still under oath, but we'll just start over again. Bring the jury in. All right, everybody may be seated. Thank you for waiting that extra couple minutes. We just had to clear up something. Just so you know, this is Ms. Johnson. We'll start with the testimony, but she is under oath at this point in time. So I'm going to go ahead and start the questioning.
Thank you, Judge. Can I please have you state your name and spell it for the record?
Laura Johnson, Flora Johnson.
And Ms. Johnson, how old are you?
5.
25? And have you ever been convicted of a crime?
Yes,
How many times?
twice.
You can hold that microphone right close to you, don't worry about it. Okay? There you go. Go ahead.
Ms. Johnson, do you know Nya Thao?
Yes,
Did you call him Nia or something else?
Kush.
And in July of 2021, how long had you been familiar with Nya Thao?
At that time, 2 years, maybe, a year or 2.
Do you see Mr. Thao in the courtroom today?
Yes,
Can you please describe for me who you believe to be Nya Thao?
he's wearing a blue shirt, glasses.
Your Honor, to ask the record reflect in-court identification.
Mr. Tao is wearing blue shirt and glasses, as indicated. Go ahead.
Ms. Johnson, you are aware that on July 23rd of 2021, Nemo Yang, Peng Lor, and Trevor Maloney were killed, correct?
Yes,
And can you recall the last time you saw Nya Thao before they were killed?
at the wharf, bar in Alaska.
Can I have you repeat that for me?
At the wharf bar in Alaska.
The Wharf Bar?
Mm-hmm.
How many days before their killings were you in contact with him there?
Kush,
Yes.
like 2 or 3 days.
2 or 3 days? Was Kush with anybody else there?
Yes,
Who was he with?
Black.
And had you ever met Black before?
No,
Met him for the first time at the wharf?
yeah,
Did Mr. Thao introduce you to Black?
yes,
Did he refer to Black? Did he use the name Black?
yeah,
And did he refer to him in any other way?
his brother.
Did you ask them any questions about them being brothers?
No,
Do you know how long you were at the wharf that day?
a couple hours.
What were you doing there?
I was pushing buttons.
What does that mean?
Slot machine, I was gambling.
Okay. And were Kush and Black together the entire time that you saw them there?
No, Kush left for a little bit in Black's car.
Did you see him leave in Black's car?
Yes,
Did he eventually come back?
yeah,
Do you know what kind of car Black drove?
I mean, at the time, I don't know cars, it was a black car.
Okay. Did you observe Mr. Thao possessing a firearm that day?
Yes,
Can you tell me a little bit about that?
it was just in his waistband.
Can you describe it at all?
I mean, not really. It was only for a second. It was a handgun. It's about
What color was it?
black.
You said it was in his waistband,
Yeah,
but you were able to observe it.
yeah. And the shape of it.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. I have nothing further, Judge.
Mr. Nelson?
Were you friends with Nemo?
I mean, kind of.
Were you friends with Peng?
Yes.
Were you friends with Trevor?
I mean, we were at one point in time, but not so much. I mean, we didn't talk or hang out regularly, like.
You had mutual friends?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Ran in the same circles, correct?
Yes.
You heard about this, I imagine you were upset, correct?
Yes.
Very upset, right?
Yes.
You weren't there at the quarry that night, right?
Nope.
You didn't see what happened, correct?
No.
In fact, other than maybe hearsay, you don't know what happened, right?
Yes.
You agree?
Yes.
Nevertheless, you probably had a lot of strong feelings about what should happen to perhaps the people that were up there, right?
I guess.
Some of the friends that you hung out with also include Michael Luco, is that right?
Yeah.
He's a friend of yours, right?
Yeah, but
In fact, you came to court with him, correct?
no.
You were out in the hall with him before when he testified?
But I did not come to court with him, no.
That's fair. You were out in the hall with him beforehand, correct?
Yes.
You know him, correct?
Yes.
He knows you, correct?
Yes.
You guys run in that same circle together then, correct?
Not so much anymore, but we used to.
That's all.
Any redirect?
No, Your Honor.
All right, you may step down. And I believe that's it for today, right? All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, another early day. I hope it's going to be sort of this way tomorrow. I don't know for sure. It might be right till 4, but I don't plan on going much beyond 4 at all. So the weekend's coming up. Try to take your mind off this as much as you can. Please, again, avoid all the news. Avoid, if you're in social settings, please don't even remind people you're a juror. Try to just not talk about it at all. And in fact, I would say take it out of your mind during the weekend, and once you get back here, start listening to testimony. Don't start deliberating is sort of one of the big things, because you're not supposed to do that until we have everything in front of you. It's a little bit of a mind trick, but you got to be able to do that. If things happen, let us know, call us. Of course, we have tomorrow, but I'm just sort of giving you an idea of what's going to happen over the weekend, because it's a little bit of a trick to do it. So we will see you tomorrow.